Hey everybody, it's Linda with Stamping School. This week I am playing around with these new dies. They are from Stampin' Up! They're in the online exclusives, which means they're not in a catalog, they're not in a flyer. They are just these standalone dies that they decided to bring out to give us something new to play with. So these are called Elegant Borders dies. They are $32 for the set of 4. They're all 6 inches long and they all cut open-ended. So for instance, if I put this here, I could put it at the bottom of a card and it can be as long as you want it to be. So I'll show you how those work. But there's this one, which is really pretty. This one kind of reminds me of a mustache. And then this one, which is really pretty. I could see this for a envelope card or something like that also. And then this one, which I really liked, and I thought, ooh, wouldn't this be cool as snow for the holidays? I can see trees and deer and things in like a whimsical snow scene with that. I think that's kind of cool. All right, I have 4 projects to show you using each of these dies. So I'm going to try not to make it a 30-minute video. I tried to have things kind of pre-done for you. Using this die right here twice. So I cut it right here and cut it here on a piece of this pretty designer paper. This is the Hues of Happiness designer paper, 12 by 12 in the annual catalog, which is going to be ending soon. At the end of this month, I think March 29th, we see the retiring list, so this paper will be going, I'm sure. But I loved framing that out. I could see lots of different silhouettes with this. I thought if I had that crane bird, that would be really pretty here. Any silhouette would be pretty. I'm using the Quiet Meadow dies. So I thought I would just do a gold fern and maybe just this navy blue right here. I'm going to glue dot that down. I love silhouettes and I like them in navy. Black would look nice too, but I wanted it to be a little bit different. I'm going to trim this off down here. Trim those down right there. Then I have a little tag from that same set. I stamped here, and we're just going to hang it there and then tie it on. If you glue these down first, then you're not running around trying to chase it to tie it down. Glue it all down first. In fact, I'm going to put another glue dot right under here to keep it all down there. Makes it much easier to tie something on. And then I stamped the sentiment from the same stamp set. Heartfelt love and caring, thoughts are with you. So I have somebody who's going through something. This is gonna hopefully brighten the day. I tried different colors of twine. White was too stark and blue was too dark. And so I did just this natural crumb cake color. And then I thought I could add a butterfly up here in gold, but that seemed too big. So I'm gonna use one of these little guys. These are still, I hope they carry over. I love them because they're flat and they're easy to mail. They come in 2 little sizes, little gold butterflies, and they add just the nice little touch and maybe a couple little sequins. So I thought this came out pretty good with this border die. Gave it a little extra something, a little extra interest. I don't know if I needed all those on there, but it's pretty. All right, that's the first one. Now this one is one that I tried, but it ended up being kind of a pain. I wanted to try this die at the bottom and this one at the top. And then it got complicated because this die right here really needs to cut off at 4 1/4. So if you cut it off before that at 4 or whatever, you lose a lot of the design. So I did 4 1/4 and 4 1/4 on this pretty paper. This is the brushstroke 12 by 12 paper in navy, which has got a real pretty shimmer to it and some texture. So, and then I just glued that on a white card, and then I stamped this in the middle. Looking back, I would probably do maybe the smaller one in here, and so that it almost is too scrolly, but I think there's potential there. And then I just cut a little flower out from the designer paper. So there's potential there. But then I went to using this one at the bottom as a true border instead. So I use that same pretty designer paper. That brush stroke paper, it's a very thin paper, which makes it great for die cutting. It's very thin, it's blue, and I think this is soft succulent or mint. And then like a petal pink or a blush. It's very pretty. So I just cut a little bit of that for the bottom of the card. So what's nice about that is you can just have a white card. This is a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 piece of paper. If you go 4 inches by 4 inches and you put it as a layer, I'm going to show you what happens. This die will cut really well at 5 1/2. Remember I told you there's 6 inches. So at 5 1/2 inches, it still cuts really nicely. At 4 1/4, it still cuts really nicely. It's got like a nice little break right there. But at 4 inches, you lose some of that and it's sort of open-ended. Does that make sense? So 4 1/4 is really the best way to do it, but they were thoughtful about the die, I think, because they made it perfect at 5 1/2 and perfect at 4 1/4 and perfect at 6. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm doing 4 1/4, and what you want to do is where this flower is, that's the open-ended part. So you'd run it through your machine, and anytime you have long dies, it's really best to run them through vertically. You can run it through this way, but you'll get a bump, and sometimes it'll miss some. This way or diagonal is perfect. So you run it through your machine this way, and you're going to want to bring it to the bottom and tape it down. This is a little 2 by 4 1/4 inch piece of paper. Tape it down or whatever, and then run that through. And then you get this. And then line this up the best you can toward the bottom, right there. So it looks like that. And then we can tape the whole thing on the card. Now on this card, I cut off a little bit of the card, so it was more delicate and see-through, but I think that's gonna get a lot of wear and tear. So on this one, I'm just putting it on a regular card, full-size card. Oh, and if you want to do ribbon, this is a good time to do the ribbon. You can do this ribbon, you can do purple. You know, this one, which is Starry Sky, looks great with it. It's like, even though this is navy and this is Starry Sky, they're close enough that it's really pretty together. So I'm going to run this across it before I glue the card down, so I don't have to go all the way around. Just like that. Okay, glue that down on this side. Stick it down over here. And then you just have to be really careful. You might want to measure the paper first against it before you glue everything down, because it's really annoying when a little bit pokes out. And that's it. And then I just embellished with a sentiment with a little gold frame on it. It's pretty. It really just adds just a touch of elegance to it, I think. It's really pretty. So that's that one. Number 3 is this die. Now, because it is 6 inches, if you wanted it at 5 1/2, you are going to have to cut into it, and it'll just have a little bit of an open end. Not the end of the world, but for this particular card, I cut 2 of these so I could make a belly band, and I could make a card like this. This is going to be a little bit bigger. You're going to want a bigger envelope, an A6 size, which is 4 3/4 by 6 1/2. We sell these for the Memories and More cards and envelopes. I think they come with cards also, white cards and these size envelopes. But it's just a little bit bigger. So this is a 4 by 6 size of designer paper. This is the Texture Chic, I believe, which is in the annual catalog. If you have a scoring board, it makes this easier. We know this is 4 inches, and I'm just going to line these up here. Now I need to make my score marks so I can fold them around the corner. Now you could just cut them off exactly there and glue them on, but I like them to open. So as long as this is in the middle, so we sort of guess what the middle is, which should be 6 inches, right about here. So we have our imaginary middle line. And then I'm going to score here, because I know that's the end of my paper, 4 inches and 8 inches right here. And that just gave me the guidelines so that they still meet in the middle, and I can glue those around. There might be an easier way to do that, but I found it just seemed to work out better to score it afterwards, because I tried doing it exactly 1 inch in, and then it was still a little off, so that just seemed to be the best way. A little finicky, but I like it. All right, so there's my gatefold. Now this is just one bigger size layer. I just thought, just to cover all this up in the back. I did try to cut both ends on the card, like cut the full sheet of paper. That didn't go well. So 2 panels are much easier to run through the machine. It just gives it like a little something to hold on to. It still fits in the envelope nicely. All right, belly band. I like using a 3/4 inch strip. So place it right here, bend. Don't make it too tight. You want to be able to move it up and down. And then it's going to get glued in the front. We don't need all of this, but let's take a little bit off. And you want to use a really strong glue, either the wet glue or sticky tape, or this fuse works pretty good. But you want something strong here. And if you want to add the ribbon, I did this soft succulent ribbon and I taped it and I went all the way around. I just ran a bead of tape here because we're going to cover that middle up anyway. But you want something really strong, like this glue will hold nicely. You probably don't want to use liquid glue for the ribbon. It could seep through. But just something to hold it like that. There, just gives an extra little something, something. This is definitely a special thing. I would not want to do all these wedding invitations, but they would be beautiful. I wouldn't want to do 100 of them. So the inside here, this piece, this is, I'm going to take it out of this one. This is an oval that I cut. What you want to do is stick it in the middle. I'm going to stick it down in the middle here. Kind of eyeball it, what the middle would be, and then look at it and make sure it's straight. And you want this to be smaller than the one that you put on the front. I'll show you what that looks like. There. It gets looser too as you work with it. And then the bigger oval. This is from the Framed Florets suite, which is so pretty. And we're only going to put adhesive right here, and that's it. And we'll use good sticky strip for that. Really good, the tear and tape right there. And it'll go on there. And that's the belly band, so it'll just go up and down. There we go, card number 3. Then we're going to use this one. This one was tricky because it is 6 inches long, and there really isn't a good place to cut. If you do want it to be smaller, that's fine. It's just then you're going to have a weird edge, right? Which bugs me a little bit. There wasn't a really good stopping point. And I like it better when it's long, but it's 6 inches. So I said, we'll fix their wagon. I'm going to use it diagonally, like this. So diagonally, it works great. And I thought it's going to make a really fun pocket. You could even do it for the inside for a gift card or something like that. In this case, I put a card inside the card. So this is just the panel. And then this just slides in like that. So easy to do. And I used white, which is, you know, easy and easy to cut. And just the card is pretty simple. Now this card is 3.5 by 4 3/4 when it's closed. That's only because it fits perfectly inside here. So we've got our navy, which is 4 1/4 by 5.5. And then this is 4 by 5 1/4. And you need some this tear tape down here at the bottom because you need to create your pocket so the card doesn't fall all the way through. And then your regular glue can come up here normally. Just don't glue anything around here. And that just makes your little panel with your pocket that can go in there. So pretty easy to do. That just slides in then. Your card slides in. This is from that really pretty Awash and Beauty paper. And the flowers are cut from the same paper. And this label, I hope they carry this over. This has been very useful. You've got 2 of the ovals on each punch. So you've got your regular oval and then it's sort of a scallop, but it's not completely rounded, but I do like it. It's been very useful. And that's it. That one's really easy. So overall, yes, I would recommend the dies. I think they're versatile. I think you can do a lot with them. Even something simple like this, if you already have edges like that. I hope you can use some of these ideas. All right, we'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.